Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today is special. It's a Patreon preview day, a bonus episode. This is usually the sort of thing that would only be on Patreon. It's a Star Wars book review. The High Republic just released the first book of Phase 2, and I figured what better time to give the listeners a preview of what I've got going on over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/CoroBloom, COROBLOOM. The content you're about to hear here is exactly the kind of thing you can expect over there, along with all sorts of comic book pull lists, movie reviews if I'm not reviewing it on the main show. If I go see a movie in theater, I'm probably going to review it on the Patreon. And all that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on. And it's also greatly appreciated. So I can't wait for you to listen to this review of the High Republic. And I hope that at the end of it, you decide you'll head to patreon.com/CoroBloom and throw your boy $3 a month. Just $3. It'll be greatly appreciated. Support your creators. It's hard out here, but it's a great joy. I fucking love doing this shit. So I hope you're ready, because it's time for the High Republic Path of Deceit. Alright, the High Republic is back, baby. It's Phase 2. And they kicked it off with a goddamn banger. Path of Deceit was immaculate. Written by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland. And Justina Ireland, obviously, one who we've had a great deal of fun with over the course of the High Republic, as she's lended her pen to a couple of her favorite High Republic entries. You know, like Out of the Shadows, for example. And she took another dip into the YA side of things here, the young adult side of things, with Path of Deceit. I'm gonna start spoiler free, as I tend to do. I'm gonna start spoiler free because, you know, I don't wanna shun anybody. You know, anybody who's thinking about getting it, who doesn't want this shit spoiled for them, I want them to know what they're getting into, and I want them to be prepared. And then for those who have already read it, I'm gonna get into the spoilers, and we're gonna get into it. But let's start spoiler free. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. And I mean on a level that a few High Republic novels have gotten me. I think this is potentially my favorite on the young adult side of things. The only one that gives it a run for its money for me is Into the Dark. Into the Dark was too damn good, but I love the crew of the vessel, and that's the reason I harken back to that. I love Orla Jareni. I love all those characters. So, but I have absolutely love the High Republic, and this was just another fantastic entry. Let me tell you, I didn't read The Light of the Jedi, Rising Storm, or The Fallen Star until well after all three were released. You know, it took me a while to get into the High Republic, but once I did, I was fucking hooked. And now I hate that I don't have the next novel to just jump right into, because that's exactly how I've approached the High Republic thus far. I gotta wait with the rest of you. And I'm pressed. I'm pressed, to say the least, because we leave this book in quite the place. But yeah, this book, it's really good, and it follows a key set of characters. You know, we got Jedi involved. It's the High Republic. We got some Jedi involved. We've got the Padawan Kev Mozink and his master Zala Makri, and they're a fucking great master and apprentice duo. I loved these two, and they balance each other out so effectively. You know, it reminded me a lot of Obi-Wan Anakin type shit, with the serious master who goes by the book, and the Padawan who is, you know, he's finding his way a little bit, but he's fun loving. And maybe I should harken back a little bit more to Padawan by Kirsten White. You know, maybe it's a little bit more Qui-Gon Obi-Wan there. I think that might be a little bit better of a comparison, where the Padawan's getting up to some shit. He's a fun-loving kid. He's such a great little dude. He's such a great little dude, and his master is the perfect master for him. You know, they balance each other out so perfectly, and just a great duo. But what they embark upon is a mission to a planet called Dalna, I should say. It's on the frontier, the Outer Rim, and as we know later on in Phase 1 of the High Republic, the frontier is not taken incredibly kindly to the Republic's. I won't say intrusion, but some of them feel as though it's an intrusion, and they're kind of reaching out, trying to make friends in the Outer Rim. But an investigation has led them to Dalna, a stolen Force artifact, and that which they think could be in connection with it is a missionary group called the Path of the Open Hand. And this was instantly a very intriguing idea. I loved the Path of the Open Hand. The idea of them, it's giving. It's all about giving. Giving with no interest in what you might get back. And I think that's such a great idea for those who have interest in the Force and those who believe in the Force. And it's basically what's at the core of the Jedi. But they go about their things way, way, way differently. The Path of the Open Hand is not open to Force sensitives necessarily. Not that they're not open to Force sensitives, but they are not cool with the idea of quote-unquote abusing the Force. And by that I mean using it in any capacity as a tool. The way a Jedi might reach out to make some flowers float. You know, they're not down for that. That's an abuse of the Force. And I think it's an interesting outlook. I appreciate the different perspectives and stuff, but I think on more than one occasion we've seen how the Jedi they can be quite helpful in their use of the Force. But within the Path of the Open Hand, we have a true believer in this cause, a young lady named Marta. She's a real one. I like her a lot. You know, she's fully for the Path. She loves this shit. She's fully devoted to it, and she's fully devoted to the leader of the Path, a mysterious character dubbed the Mother. And again, instantly a character, just what a way to open up Phase 2 with a slate of characters I'm already so intrigued by. And the Mother specifically was one that made me go, oh, what's going on here? She's some sort of prophet-like entity to the Path of the Open Hand. They think she sees visions and can guide them in the way that they need to be heading. And it's interesting. It's interesting. But Marta's cousin is another large character in this book. A girl named Yana, a woman named Yana. And she's a badass. I fuck with Yana big time. She might be my favorite character from this book. All I know is that if you're diving into this book, what I love about the YA novels and what I specifically love about this novel is compared to some of the High Republic novels, it's much more narrow in scope. We're not jumping around between POV a lot. It's not like we're dealing with 7 or 8 different characters that we've got to know what's going on with them. We're dealing with 2 primary characters, those being Kevmo Zink and Marta, and everything branches from them. Everything is as it pertains to what's going on with them and the way their stories intersect. And it gives you a chance to just sit with these characters a lot more, be inside their minds, and get to know them a lot better and come to love them in a much shorter time. Because I tell you, by the end of this book, I'm loving these characters. It's some of my favorite character work in the High Republic so far. You know, I love Marta and Yana. Those were a couple of my favorites, and Kevmo was one of my favorite Padawans so far. You know, I think that prior to this, Bel Zettifar probably still remains my favorite Padawan of the High Republic era, but I would say second before Kevmo Zink here was Reath Silas, and I think Kevmo's taken a nice little leap up above that. Just very quickly got me enamored with these characters, and you know that's what this shit is all about. When it's coming to storytelling, I'm not here necessarily. I mean, I'm always down for the big galaxy implicating, large mythos of Star Wars, but I like the character work. I want to see them develop. I want to see them find their way. I want to see them find their path. You know, I think that's the most exciting thing about Star Wars, and the connections they make along the way. And that's another thing that I think the High Republic has not shied away from, is the connections characters make. You know, they especially with those Phase 1, you know, I remember Bell and Loden's relationship. There was a love there. There was an attachment, you know, and they haven't shied away from attachments. And I'd say that Kevmo and Zala, they have not necessarily the same relationship. I think Bell and Loden might be my favorite Padawan and apprentice duo of all time, but they have a damn good one. You know, they have a very, very loving and kind relationship, exactly what a master and Padawan should be, and they put it to the page so effectively. But yeah, the big thing for me here is that I find myself more excited about the High Republic than I have been anything else Star Wars in a while. Don't get me wrong. Everything Star Wars I'm going to be excited for. Andor just came around. You know I was ready for it. You know I was excited. I even did some pre-reading for that. I did all the shit there. I have not been this excited for new Star Wars, I don't think, since maybe The Mandalorian Season 2. I think that's probably the last time I was this excited about Star Wars. And if you tell me 2 years ago that my most anticipated aspect of Star Wars is going to be a book about an era that has not even begun, an era that has not been explored in the slightest canonically, I would have been like, what the fuck? But I'm left here with such a deep attachment to this era. There's something so light and lovely about it, and it's so fucking crazy that I say that, because the spirit of the High Republic is for light and life. It is so, there's something so uplifting about it, but the books have a tendency to be the most heartbreaking shit I've ever read in my life. Because of its ability to make me attached to these characters, because of its ability to make me just connect with the story and with this era and with everyone they're putting within it. So all I can say about this book, as far as spoiler free, is that I'm left uber satisfied. Just so overwhelmingly satisfied. And in fact, I think I might go ahead and throw it on my ranking list here prior to getting into the spoiler stuff, just so all you who don't want to hear the spoilers, those who haven't read it, just know where I'm sitting with this, how I'm feeling about it. Man, it's up there. It's up there. Let me go ahead and place this for us. I think I got a few books that I've read recently that I haven't cataloged, so I'm going to have to go ahead and punch those in. I got Catalyst I got to punch in, Rebel Rising. Ooh, there's some good books here. I've read a couple novelizations recently, The Phantom Menace, Rogue One, but I don't think I'll necessarily put them on this ranking. All right. Man, and this book just reminded me how much I fucking love the High Republic. Like, I've read the books within the last 2 months, and I'm still like, or like, not the last 2 months, but last 4 months or so, and I'm still left just mouth agape at how much this just grabbed me right back in. Just pulled me right back into the thick of it. Let's see. All right, I think I've got it. I'm moving stuff around just based on how I'm feeling today. All right, so this is climbing high. And here's the thing for me. I love Star Wars novels. I don't know that there's an aspect of Star Wars on screen or anything that I like more than reading these books. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this list for you, and you just roll with me, all right? So at number 1, I got Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. You know, I mentioned that Load and Greatstorm and Bell Zettifar might be my favorite Master and Apprentice duo of all time. I don't know if they quite stack up to Qui-Gon Obi-Wan for me. I love Qui-Gon Obi-Wan. Those are top 2, though. I have no doubts. At number 2, I got Bloodline, again by Claudia Gray. I love me some Claudia Gray, and I think you will find that to be consistently true as I continue this ranking. Bloodline, just an all-time book. I fucking love it. At number 3, Journey to Star Wars The Last Jedi, Leia, Princess of Alderaan. By who? That's right, Claudia Gray. So all 3 of my top 3 by Claudia Gray. Fucking love Claudia Gray. At number 4, I'm going to go ahead and surprise you here, and I'm going to go The Fallen Star. By who? That's right, Claudia Gray. The High Republic's nuts, dude. That being the conclusion of Phase 1 as far as the adult novels were concerned, I loved it so much. I reviewed it here on the Patreon. Go check that out. But, yeah, Claudia Gray, again, fucking it up. So all 4 of my top 4, Claudia Gray. At number 5, I got Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. Again, The High Republic, can't go wrong. At number 6, Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Again, The High Republic, can't go wrong. And at number 7 is where I have decided Path of Deceit is going to lie by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland, making it the second highest of the young adult novels on my list. I believe Leia, Princess of Alderaan, was classified as a young adult novel. This book was special, man. This book was special. At 8, I got Brotherhood by Mike Chen. At number 9, I got Rebel Rising by Beth Revis. At number 10, I got Catalyst by James Luceno. At number 11, Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. At number 12, Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. At number 13, The Princess and the Scoundrel by Beth Revis. At number 14, Out of the Shadows by Justina Ireland. At number 15, Queen Shadow by E.K. Johnston. At number 16, 16 or 17, Padawan by Kirsten White. Then I got Ronin, Queen's Peril, Dooku, Jedi Lost, and Ahsoka. I need to throw Midnight Horizon on this as well. I'm coming very close to finishing that. I was trying to finish it before this book, and I didn't. But that's all right. I'm going to go ahead and finish that, and I'll get into it. But with that out of the way, it's time for the spoiler zone. It's spoiler time. Spoilers coming now. So if you have not read Star Wars The High Republic, Path of Deceit by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland, and you do not want that shit spoiled, go ahead and leave. Find your way to the door. Much love for you. But you don't want to hear this. Fuckity fuck. My heart, it's been torn asunder. You know, earlier today when I finished chapter 8, I think I took to Twitter and was like, man, this book continues the spirit of the High Republic so effectively. I love this era so much. And little did I know that it would become more true than I could have possibly imagined, because I am yet again left with my heart just destroyed. My soul is rot. It's not looking good for me. With all that said, I absolutely fucking loved this book. These characters, here's my thing. Marta and Yana, being Martaro and Yanaro, I specifically left that out of the spoiler-free section because I thought it was a really cool revelation as I was reading the book. Like, oh shit, these are somehow the ancestors of Marchion Ro. And very, very early on, you know, you start to get a feel for, like, the path of the open hand. You got Marta and Yana Ro, and it's like, okay, so how does this evolve into what we know becomes the Nile. And it's so interesting because the Nile, obviously that name for the group is derived from nihilist, the belief in absolutely nothing. Here we have the path of the open hand, very devout religious belief. You know, it's very, very straightforward, full-blown believers, you know. And very quickly upon meeting the mother and learning that she has a specific sect of her following that she has dubbed her children, and that she has a herald. I'm sorry, but when all these things are combined and you call your title is the mother, I'm going to have to call cult, you know? I just have very little doubt that what I'm dealing with here is in some way, shape, or form culty. I don't think there's any way around it. You call a specific part of your following the children. It's just never a great sign. It's just never a great sign. So the whole time I'm racking my brain about how this eventually evolves into what we come to know as the Nile. This whole time the mother is nursing this egg, this orb, glowing orb that we don't know is an egg for a while. We eventually learn it's an egg, but and I'm just like, you know, we got Kor, who, oh my god, I didn't even mention Kor, bro. The thing about this book is the relationships it forms. You know, I emphasize the master and apprentice. I emphasize the cousin relationship between Marta and Yana. But the romantic attachments in this book, man. Yana and Kor, Kevmo and Marta. Those are the heart of this book. That is what makes this book reach into your chest and rip your fucking heart out. Because, you know, I'm reading this book and I'm thinking like, okay, if one of these cousins is the ancestor of Marchion Ro, your natural inclination over the course of the book is that it's Yana somehow. You know, she's very like, screw the Force, I just do what I need to do. She's like, I'll kill a motherfucker if I need to, talking about trees and shit. But to flip that on its head and to show us someone who was so devout and was so run amok and led astray in Marta, and her devotion to the mother and her devotion to this religion, and for it to be the cause of the boy she loves' death. It makes perfect sense for her to become the first step into what becomes the Nile. And I fucking love that sort of fallen angel thing. This is already so fucking cool. And it's not even like full-blown fallen angel yet. You know, like she's got this spirit about her where she's so kind. I loved Marta. She deserved so much better than she had throughout the beginning of this book. The insecurity she had and the way she handled it and the way she channeled it into doing good for the littles and, you know, being there for them, and ultimately all that amounting to her being able to go, you know what? Ain't shit gonna scare me anymore. I can't let that happen. You know, I'm gonna prevent the pain I felt at the hands of the Force for everyone else. And ultimately that image evolves. And, you know, the Nile are obviously far different than what the Path is even starting to represent here. You know, I think she's not necessarily Nihil-esque. You know, she still is speaking of how she is going to, you know, prevent the death and the suffering at the hands of the Force. She's going to make sure the Force is free. She's still all about that at the end of this book. And it'll be interesting if she is the direct line in which eventually produces Marchion Ro, because she was just such a cool fucking character. And the fact that the mother was nursing the Leveler the whole goddamn time. there was something off about it. Core kept bringing it up. She had the intense acrobatic ability. She was highly in tune with the way things feel. She was a little force sensitive. She knew something was off. It struck fear in her. And when Yana had to hold Core as she was dying, bro, I'm crying. And then when Marta has to hold Kevmo as he's dying, I'm crying. Whenever fucking Zala dies, I'm crying. The fact that this book killed everyone. I'm expecting I'm thinking maybe Yana dies. I'm thinking maybe just Zala dies. Nah. We're gonna kill both the cousins' love interests in Kevmo and in Core, and we're also gonna kill the Padawan's master. He has to be there to witness that. Here's the thing about this era: it's crazy because Star Wars is notoriously heart-wrenching for familial ties. Anakin's descent into darkness, Padme having to witness that, Obi-Wan having to witness that. That is all heartbreaking. But most deaths at that level are something of a triumph in the movies. Luke's death in The Last Jedi. I say that's something of a triumph, a rebirth of the Resistance. Leia's death, bringing Ben back into the light. Vader's death, redeeming himself. Obi-Wan's death, protecting Luke and Leia on his way out. The only death in the movies, in the Skywalker saga, as far as Jedi are concerned, that makes me go, oh, well, it's bloody fucking senseless, is Qui-Gon Jinn, But even he didn't die without hope. The thing about the High Republic that's so heart-wrenching is these characters who are all about giving hope to the galaxy, that are all about trying to help wherever they can. With Loden. And spoilers for all of the High Republic. If you're just jumping in for the Path of Deceit and you haven't read the others, I'm about to spoil a lot of the High Republic, so go ahead and get the fuck out of here. Loden, Orla, Jorah Mali. So many characters die without hope and in great fear. That's, Qui-Gon died, at least he was like Obi-Wan, promise me you'll train the boy. At least he had a fight. These dudes, these chicks, anyone who's dying in the High Republic at the hands of the Leveler is going through absolute hell when they die. And that makes it hurt so fucking bad. I'm sorry, my mind went to Buryaga, and I was just like, is he okay? Is he alright? So I ended up blending bad and Buryaga, and bag, it just came out. And the fact that most of the time the Padawans of these masters have to witness these things. Nibasik. Not Nibasik, bro. I just hate that, I was like, not again. Not again, bro. When this little motherfucker grew his little legs and he hatched on out of his egg and he went towards Zala and she started calcifying and shit, I was just sitting there like, no. The shit hurts. I'm in pain, physical and emotional pain. That's what the High Republic brings you. And you know what? I'll take it 10 times out of fucking 10 if I can keep reading these goddamn books. It's such a great era. There's something so fucking special about it. It's the fact that that is the fucking thing we're facing is this desperation, this complete and utter hopelessness, this intense fear. Because that's what it is, fear. It's what it's always brought around to be with the Leveler. And they still have the courage to face that down, to fight it, and to find hope in the face of it. That's the thing that always gets me. The thing about this book, and I still love it regardless, we're left with little to no hope. You know, Yana is like, oh no, what did I get myself into? Marta's like, well, I just painted the 3 lines down the middle of my face. A little Nihil-esque, so she's now smiling with her teeth. Her frightening teeth, apparently. Bro, the way Kevmo and her were just, the way Kevmo saw the beauty. I loved their relationship, man. It was so cute. It was so lovey-dovey. It was so first love sort of feel, you know, whenever they run into each other at the marketplace, and he shows off, he floats the flowers for her and shows her everything. Like, that shit was so cute, and the way she was so enticed, the way they challenged each other's beliefs, the way they made each other reevaluate what they thought. That's the shit that just hits, you know. And they both did it. They both made each other think about what they wanted and who they were. And there's a point in the book where, you know, he's sitting there like talking through this about how he wants her to find her place in the Force, and how he hopes for the best for her as he's talking through it to his master. And then he realizes, oh shit, I'm looking for my place in the Force. You know, like they've come around on each other so hard that, like, they're making each other reevaluate the way they look at things. And I think that's so fucking cool. There's this thing in Leia, Princess of Alderaan, by Claudia Gray, where she's having her first love sort of romp, and she starts thinking about how she's always had one perspective on life, and now all of a sudden she's got 2, hers and his, and she cannot even fathom the fact that she ever had one perspective, you know. And I think that was such an acute way to put love, and this story just emanated that energy with Kevmo and Marta. Like, they were fucking adorable. And it's just so crazy that such likable characters as Marta and Yana can eventually result in such a disaster. And I mean, a likable character as far as what he brings to the story, but a goddamn evildoer in Marchion Ro. I'm so intrigued as to where they're going to bring Phase 2 of the High Republic. The fact that this is a prequel, and it recontextualizes what we see in Phase 1. You know, the fact that the path is building the Gaze Electric. The fact that the Rose end up on the Gaze Electric. It's no coincidence, you know? Like, that was another thing that was like, oh, yeah, this is leading to the Nihil somehow, but I cannot wait to see how. And I'm sad to think that Marta will just continue to see a demise down a certain road, and maybe she's the first eye of the Nihil. That'd be killer. I'm just left floored by how much I liked this book. It was so fucking good. And when it came to Yana and Core, I mean, those Gaze Electric. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Those Gaze Electric. I'm a funny guy. But yeah, man, I don't know what else to say other than, like, I could go into a few more, like, just little parts of the book. I loved the way Yana was so insistent to Marta at the end, like, it's the mother. The mother killed Core. She had them kill him. She had them kill them, Core and Trees. You don't have to believe me, but that's what I'm telling you. And the way Marta just wouldn't believe it, and I don't know that she ever believes it until she goes in and she finds the body of Zala on the floor. And that's when she decides, maybe I got something to do, because the leveler chooses them. Does Markion know that this goes back within his family, the leveler? How does the leveler end up being tied to this rod? What the fuck's going on here? That all these little threads that can be tied together eventually will make the High Republic, if not already, the most exciting and best era in the Star Wars canon. Because like I said, I'm in love. I'm in love with this era. And it truly was a path of deceit here. A little on the nose title for this one. It was whenever the switch happened and Yana is in a rain of blaster fire, Therese has a knife in his fucking neck, and it's like, oh, this is a young adult novel? That shit blows my mind every time. Every time I read a Star Wars young adult novel, I'm like, so what makes this young adult is the fact that the main characters are young adults. The content is basically the same as what would be in the quote-unquote adult versions of the novels. It's just that we follow kids. Or teenagers, I should say. But, dude, I was just like, oh, fuck yeah, now we're getting into it. And like, I've always been about how I like just being with the characters. It's like the action sequences are never necessities for me. I like just being with them and hanging out with them and hearing their interactions, reading their interactions, and taking in how the characters think and stuff. I love that shit. But when you can make the action sequences compelling and emotionally fervent, like that shit, the only action in this book was action that ended up tearing my heart out. If you're going to do action, do it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, or make it triumphant. Make the heroes win, but it looks like they lost all hope. There are some books where just like the action at the end of the books, I'm like, well, this is just an all right last act to this book. Like I think The Princess and the Scoundrel fell victim to that, where it was just like, it's okay, it's an okay ending, but it was so good for the first half. This book just kept me. It kept me from beginning to end, and I finished it in a day. That doesn't happen a lot for me. I don't do that with books a lot. This is a milestone moment for me as far as books are concerned. But I think I might throw a rating at this bad boy, the way that we rate movies and shows on the good old podcast Rooney Dooney. Out of 10, 3 separate categories. For enjoyment, that's just how much it's resonate with me, completely subjective. I don't even have to be like, oh, that was fun, I can, if it made me cry, it's probably going to do pretty fucking good, so enjoyment's one of the ratings. Genre is one of the ratings, and this is that young adult fantasy Star Wars shit, and it's going to do pretty well there. It's going to do pretty well there, bud, if I had to say so myself. And then the critical rating, and that's just how well this book was written, how much the character work worked for me, the arcs that I see over the course of this book, and I gotta say it's gonna do pretty well there. As far as enjoyment is concerned, I gotta go 10. I gotta go 10 out of 10. I fucking love this book. It was everything I wanted for the return to the High Republic. I had high hopes, and they were met, they were surpassed. This shit had me on my ass. What a fucking book. As far as genre is concerned, this young adult science fantasy Star Wars shit, specifically High Republic shit, I think, again, I would have to go 10 out of 10. I think this was damn good. It's exactly what I want from a Star Wars book. When it comes to the books that are about movie characters, you know, like with Leia, Princess of Alderaan, or Princess and the Scoundrel and stuff. What I want from those books, Rebel Rising and Catalyst, is I want them to recontextualize the movies that come after them or come before them or anything like that. I want them to make me think about the journeys of these characters in a new way. This did that for a whole era of books. This book alone recontextualized like 6 books I've read. And none of the characters from those books are in this book. You know how nuts that is? That's exactly what I want from Star Wars shit. That's exactly what I want. I have no interest in anything more. I have no interest in anything less. It was fucking brilliant. It was fucking brilliant. Now, where that leaves us is the critical rating. And the critical rating is interesting because I don't usually do this for books. I usually just know if a book is well written or if it is not. And this book was considerably well written. I'll go pretty high up on the rating here. The way they could set the scene so effectively, Dalna it sounded fucking beautiful. You know, the pink. Like, the way they just set the scene for me. I could see every room. I could see the surface of the planet. I could see the marketplace. It was just so well done. I could see the characters, you know. I haven't looked at the High Republic promotional material. I've seen, like, the pictures, but I don't know who's who, you know. I've seen, like, the group shots and stuff, and I'm excited to go look at it because I want to see how close my image of them in my head is to them and their concept art. But I had no trouble seeing these characters in my head. I could see the gray skin and the black eyes and the sharp teeth and nails of Yana and Marta, and I could see the Pantoran features of Kevmo and the dark hair and the yellow tattoos on his face. They did so well at expressing those things. It was so effective. But and the journeys these characters see over the course of the book is kind of brilliant. You know, it's kind of heartbreaking because Kevmo comes to some really, really important conclusions about his future within the Force. You know, what he wants to do, what he's going to do, and how he's going to be, and what his outlook is going to be. I mean, Zala, she's kind of set in her way. She's a Jedi Master. You know, it's going to be how it's going to be. But it's heartbreaking to see her go the way she does. The most compelling stories in this book are Marta and Yana. Those are the top 2 characters from this book, and they nailed that. They nailed that shit. They knocked that out of the park. So I'm going to go ahead and throw, you know what? I don't know what a perfect book is, so I'm going to throw a 9 out of 10 there. It comes to a 97% on the old tomato meter for books. If you're coming to me, 97%. That's how I'm feeling about The Path of Deceit. 9.7 out of 10. That's a goddamn banger of a book, and it's God, I love Star Wars books. I love Star Wars books so much. But yeah, so Path of Deceit, you gotta pick it up if you haven't read it. If you have read it, I'm so glad you stuck out this podcast with me. It was such a joy to read. It was such a joy to review for you. And the High Republic Phase 2 will continue, and I'll continue covering it here on patreon.com/KoroBloom. So please bear with me as I wait again for the High Republic. I'm so excited for what's to come. Follow at Penny Bloom Pod. Follow me on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. Thank you so much, patrons, for being here. It is such a joy to have such a small audience that I can talk directly to. And the support I feel from you monetarily and emotionally is palpable. It's so greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for being here. And yeah, much love to all of you. Thank you. Bye. there you have it. That's your Patreon preview. I gave you a whole fucking episode for the Patreon preview. I do a lot of book reviewing over on the Patreon. That's the ideal thing. I like getting going over there because not a lot of people read the books, and I love the books. I love being able to talk about them on my own. And if you're looking for more book reviews on the Star Wars side of things, that's where you're going to find it. I've got a Star Wars I'm going to go ahead and read you the list of Star Wars book reviews I've got for you, with only more to come. Star Wars Leia, Princess of Alderaan was my most recent on September 15th. On September 6th, Star Wars The Princess and the Scoundrel review. Let's see, we got more here. August 11th, Star Wars Into the Dark review. August 4th, Star Wars Padawan review. July 28th, Star Wars The Fallen Star review. July 21st, The Rising Storm review. July 14th, The Light of the Jedi review. July 7th, the Star Wars Shadow of the Sith review. It's a special time to be a Star Wars fan if you're into the books. And if you're into the books, please head over to patreon.com/KoroBloom. It'll be a huge help, and all that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on. And it's so greatly appreciated every time I get another patron. It makes my heart it makes my heart happy. That's patreon.com/KoroBloom, where for $3 a month you can support some of your favorite creators here at the Penny Bloom podcast. It's a great joy. It's a great joy to do that content for you, and it's only patreon.com/KoroBloom for a little bit. Until the end of the year. At the beginning of next year, I'll be changing it to not Star Wars. I'm so focused on Star Wars right now. Patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. That will be come 2023. But right now, Patreon.com/KoroBloom. That's COROBLOOM. Patreon.com/KoroBloom. Thank you so much for tuning in. And much love, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise the High Republic.